So as I mentioned, it is Sale-a-bration, and the Island Vibes stamp set is one of the stamp sets that you can get for free with a $50 order. So, what was I saying? Yes, $50 order. So, and I haven't really used it, but Stampin' Up! Sends us a weekly email as a demonstrator every week. We get an email, and then there's some samples in there also. And this stamp set was kind of spotlighted in that email this week, and one of the cards, I just fell in love with it. And so I just thought, I'm going to make some of those cards during my life. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to use the Island Vibe stamp set, and we're going to make some of these cards that I saw in an email that I got from Stampin' Up! So yay. Okay, so here are some pieces and parts of paper. I'm using the Simply Marvelous mostly for my envelope flap because I love doing that. And then a strip for the inside layer of the card. Okay. So then the outside of the card is, this is Gorgeous Grape. It's 8.5 by 5.5. I'm just going to fold it in half and burnish it with a bone folder. There we go. So we have that. Then I have, this is a little bit of an oversized piece, but when I'm done stamping it, I'm going to cut it down to 3 by 4 1/4. And then it's going to layer onto this, which is like 3 1/8 by 4 3/8. Okay, and this is Highland Heather. So to start out with, I'm going to be using my layer of white. And I'm going to be using this kind of leafy, kind of bordery, edgy piece. I'm sure that's not exactly what it would be called, but that's what I'm going for. Bordery, edgy piece. And I'm going to start out by inking it up in Gorgeous Grape. Okay. So we've got our Gorgeous Grape here. We're just going to tap, tap, tap and get this inked up. We're going to look at it to make sure we got the whole thing because it's a little bit longer, I think, than my ink pad. And I'm going to start by just stamping it at the bottom. Okay, so like so. So Cynthia is not sure what to do with it. Well, we'll just see if this works for you, Cynthia. So now I'm going to huff on this. So that just means I breathed on it. And I'm going to stamp it again. Oh, you know what I wanted to do? I kind of want to get this edge so it's not quite so inky. Yes, I know it's all over my finger, but we're going to try to not have that get everywhere. Okay, so there we have that. So I'm going to breathe on it again. I'm going to run my finger along that edge again because I don't want a stark line. And I wonder if I have some of the practice pieces that I used earlier to show you what I'm talking about. I mean, you can kind of see it here, but it's not quite as bad. I'm huffing on it again. So I'm just huffing on it multiple times. And I'm going up the piece of paper here. Okay. And there's still ink on there. So I'm going to go one more time, I think. And I'm going to kind of rub that so it's not such a harsh line. And then we're going to go, do we want to go one more time? Yeah, we'll go one more time. Okay, it's good. Okay, so we've done that. I'm going to wipe my finger off on my chamois. It'll be stained purple, but it won't have ink that's going to transfer. Okay, so now I need to cut this. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer and I'm going to cut it. Like I told you, it's going to end up being 3 inches. So you can see to start out with, what is this? It's about 3.5. So I'm going to go with trying to cut off, about 1/4 of an inch-ish from each side. Okay. And then I'm going to cut another bit off of this side and make it so it's 3 inches wide. Okay. And then I do need to cut a little bit off the bottom because I didn't get it over the edge of the bottom. So there's like a little bit of a white line there and I don't like that. So did I make this too big? No, but it's going to be fine. I'm actually going to cut this. So it's not 4 1/4 anymore. It's 4 3/16. But it should still, so it'll still fit on here, but I do need to cut a little bit of this off. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that right now. So since it's 4 1/8, we're going to bring it down and have it be like 4 1/16. Okay, so you can pretty much do it however you want. I just kind of wanted it to be about 3 by 4 1/4. So that's what it is now. And I started with a larger piece than was necessary because as you saw, sometimes you don't get these exactly even or you get from side to side. I didn't get it all the way to the bottom. So if you make it a little bit bigger and then trim it to fit, you'll have a lot better luck instead of trying to start with your exact same piece of cardstock that you want and then trying to make it all work. At least that's my opinion. It works better for me. Okay, so then I have a sentiment here. And it says, I don't remember, it's from the Slim Sayings stamp set. It says, "You really are fabulous." And I think as I was looking at this, I think there's some fuzz or something on here. So I'm gonna, when I feel like I have fuzz on a stamp, I like to just use a piece of regular tape and I just put it on there, and that way it'll get off any of the fuzz. So I'm gonna bring in a basic gray ink pad. I thought about using black, but black just seemed kind of harsh for what I wanted to do here. I thought it would be too harsh. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this kind of close to the edge. Hopefully it'll be even. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so we have that. I'm going to close that ink. I'm going to close this ink. I'm going to put that aside, and then I'm going to bring in my card base. And I'm going to bring in some Highland Heather ink. And I'm going to bring in, where's my pineapple? My pineapple. And I'm going to use my pineapple to kind of make a bit of a background on this card. So I'm going to start by inking it up in the Highland Heather. I'm going to line this up so that my fold line is on one of the lines on my grid. And then I'm going to kind of put this in the middle. I don't want the entire pineapple on there, so I'm just going to try to stamp it so it's just a little bit. And then I'm going to push that up, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put like, so it's half of the pineapple. And then this, I'm just going to do at the top here and just use the pineapple, I guess the part that you eat, like that. So we just now have a little bit of interest on the card, so it's not like a completely blank surface. And then I can add these two layers together. Oh goodness, where's my silicone mat? Ugh. My seal. Sometimes if your seal gets stalled, like sometimes when you pull your seal up, you'll like rip off a bunch of the adhesive that's supposed to still stay on there. And then you have a little bit of a struggle trying to get it started again. But if you run it on your silicone mat, it will start right up for you. Okay, I'm going to pull that over just a tad. Press that into place. All right. Oh gosh, my iPad is not keeping up. Okay. Oh, Lisa says she already loves this card. Thank you, Lisa. Okay, so now I also we have this beautiful, gorgeous grape ribbon, which is fantastic. So I am going to wrap it around something, because you know me and wrapping around cardstock, I can't do it. So I always wrap my ribbons around something else. In this case, it's going to be this bottle of Stampin' Mist. And I'm going to tie it in a bow. I didn't like how that turned out. It was not making me a happy person. Okay. Try that. I think that should work. Okay, and then I'm just going to manipulate the loops, because obviously they're way too big. I don't need a loop that big on my front of my card. So I'm going to make that one a little smaller. And that one a little smaller. Okay, we're getting there. And then pull it tight. That should work. Okay, so let me bring in some paper snips here, trim off the ends, and see what we've got, if it's a decent enough bow. I think that it's going to work. Okay, so I want my bow to be about right here. So I'm going to try to cover up this line. You can see there was like a little bit of a harsh line there. So I'm going to put my bow right here, and I'm going to pull my loop over to that direction. And then I'm going to cut it so that there is enough of this loop to go to the back, and then there's still enough of the other side to go this way. Okay, so that's about where I want it. So I'm going to fold my ribbon to the back of the card, and I'm going to pull in a little bit of Scotch tape and add it. And then here we're going to do this same thing, pull that to the back, add some Scotch tape. Okay, so we have that. Now my tails are a little long. Whoops. There we go. Okay. And then we're going to add this to the front of the card. Of course, we should use some dimensionals, right? Because why wouldn't we want to use dimensionals? Or pop dots, or I actually had a customer who called them pop tarts. when I used to do live in-person classes, people would, this gal would always say, "Where's the Pop-Tarts?" I just loved that. It was so funny. Okay, so we're going to get this on here like so. There we go. And then I thought we need some bling. So I have all my bling in this little box here, and I want just plain bling, but plain bling that I'm going to color. So I'm going to take this dark Highland Heather Stampin' Blend, and I'm just going to kind of run it around my gems here. So I mean, it's not going to make them super dark purple, but it's going to make them purple enough that they're not clear anymore. Okay, so we'll just do that a little bit, and now we have some purple gems. All right, so let me bring in my take your pick tool, and I'm going to pull off one of them. I'm going to put right down here at the base of my sentiment, and then the other two I'm just going to kind of put up here, like at the top of my sentiment. So we've got that. Okay, we can throw all these back into the little box. And then we're going to decorate the inside piece. And so here's my inside layer. And I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to put it across the bottom. So in order to do that, what I want to do is bring in the third stamp in this set. And I'm going to ink this up, but I'm going to use my Stampin' Write markers on it. Whoops, there's some fuzz. So I'm going to use, this is my basic gray, and I'm just going to run this on the pot that's in this, on this stamp here. And then I'm going to bring in the Highland Heather, and I'm going to do the rest of this in Highland Heather. And you might notice that I'm using the side of my marker. I'm not using the tip or the point. And I'm doing that on purpose because I don't want to ruin my tip or the point, because then I won't be able to get in very small areas to do any coloring that I might need to do later on. So we're just going to run that across. Then you guys know how I love adding extra dimension to these types of stamps, these bolder stamps. So I have a sponge dauber in the Gorgeous Grape, and I'm just going to add a little bit to the kind of centers of these leaf images. I'm going to huff on this. And since my paper is going to be about 3/4 of an inch, I want my pot to still show. So I'm going to stamp it like that. And can you even tell? You can kind of tell. I mean, I can kind of tell. There's a little bit of variation in the color on there. It's not a ton, but there is a little bit. Okay, so now we can add this to the base because I am loving this purple marvelous paper. It's just amazing to me. All right, where's my scissors that are not for ribbon? Here we go. I think I mentioned this a few videos back. I'm kind of a freak about scissors, and I have multiple pairs of these scissors, and so I have them all noted with different colors of Sharpies and different shapes. So this one has a silver Sharpie asterisk. This means this one's for ribbon. This is a copper star. This means this is still a decent pair of scissors, and you can do some nice fussy cutting with this. This one has a gold star, and this pair has kind of been through the ringer, and it's not perfect, so it's for like fussy cutting quickly types of things. So just want to throw that out there. Maybe some of the rest of you have multiple pairs of scissors. I mean, who knows? But yeah, I just find it's necessary to have multiple pairs of scissors. All right, let us add this to the inside. And this is another tip that I have shared multiple times. When I put my inside layers in, I only pay attention to the top and the bottom and the outside edge. I don't care about the fold line. And so if you look really closely, you can see that I have a lot more area showing there. But when you open up the card, you don't even see that. You don't notice it. But if these were off, you might notice those. So that's what I do there. Let me burnish this down again because I did fold it back the other direction. So we have the card. Now we're going to do the envelope, because when you get stuff for free, you know, like this marvelous paper, I've gotten a few packs of it, you know, from some of the orders that I've placed over the past couple of months. And so I have been really enjoying using it on envelope flaps. So I cut it to 2.5 by 6, and then I use liquid glue, cover the flap. And then for this job, we could use the gold star because we don't need it to be, you know, super precise, fancy fussy cutting. We just need to trim this off. So we're just going to trim around it. If I can, there we go. And oops, I just cut some of the envelope. Yeah, nobody will ever know. Okay, so there it is. Now I have some other samples for you guys because I knew you would want to see this in different colors. Okay, so here we have it in this beautiful, gorgeous grape. Here we have one in Bermuda Bay. How awesome is that? We've got, look where I got these rhinestones are from that new collection. Let me grab it. They are in fact Bermuda Bay rhinestones, and they come out of the Rhinestone Waves Basic Jewels that'll be available next week, you guys, next Tuesday. Okay, and then I have one more. I did one in Blushing Bride. Oh, you'll notice that the border on this one is just the pineapple leaves, the top of the pineapple. And then this one here is just the top of that image that we put on the inside of our purple card. So I just did that in Blushing Bride all the way down. And then I used that Flirty Flamingo and gold ribbon on there, and then some polished dots. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I thought it was super fun. Like I said, I really haven't used the set. I've had it for a long time, and it just, I don't know, it didn't, I mean, I saw some really nice cards with it, don't get me wrong. But when I saw this card that Stampin' Up! Kind of sent out, I was like, oh yeah, that's the one I need to do. Because I also love making multiple cards for you guys, you know, using the same layout or something like that. I do enjoy doing that also. So I hope you guys find that helpful. And I used every one of the stamps in the set all on the same card. That doesn't always happen either. So